Hello Universe, it's Gypsy. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. This is a collaborative panning project with another channel, This Side of 40. My friend Lou and I are working on panning 3 polishes. It's a rotating type project where we work on 3 polishes each month and we give you updates on how that's going. I do have a question for you guys. Now that you're hand washing as much as I do, I'm a registered nurse. I've always had trouble keeping polish on my nails, stopping the chipping and things like that. When I used to get manicures, my manicurist could polish my nails with plain enamel polishes, put a top coat on it, and it wouldn't chip. It would stay for 2 weeks. But now that I've been doing my own manicures at home for a couple of years, trying to pan these polishes out, I don't have the same success. I know that you're probably washing your hands as much as I normally do as a nurse, and I'm sure that you're probably doing your own manicures now. I'm curious, have you found any tips and tricks that you can share with me to stop these enamel polishes from chipping? I cannot wear gels. I'm not allowed to wear gels as a nurse. I'm allowed to have a manicure, but it can't be chipped. It can't have glitter. I can't use gels. No acrylics. We can't have our nails long. Those are pretty much the policies and procedures across the board with nurses. My pedicures always stay fine, but my manicures always take a beating. I'm just curious. That's a quick question I've got. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the polishes that I'm working on. I'm going to grab my glasses real quick so I can read the color names to you. These are all 3 of these are old polishes. This first polish is a Revlon product in hot cocoa. I haven't used it this month. This is where I left off last month. That's how much more I've got to go in this, because I started picking up this L'Oreal in Mousse Cafe, and I have worked down to here on that product. It was kind of hard to get a measurement. It's real creamy and I can't see through it, but I do believe that's where I've worked. I did a manicure and a pedicure, of course, and then I had to do touch-ups with it at the beginning of the month. And then I rotated in my Maybelline Forever Strong in Spiced Pink. That's what I'm wearing today. And I've worked it down to here. It's a silver mark below the black. And I've actually used, I can't get any more of the Victoria's Secret that I've been marking the bottles with out. So this is going to go in the empties. The other polish that I'm working on, and instead of being at the top line, mark line, I'm at the bottom of the thick band of a mark line. This is just an LA Colors base and top coat that I wanted to use up. So I've been putting that on top. And that's kind of the progress that I've made. But these are the 3 colors that I've been working on to try to pan out. And I will keep working on those until I finish them. The Mousse Cafe is a duplicate in my collection. That's why I wanted to use it up. But I might go ahead and, when I finish that one, rotate another Mousse Cafe in. Because I have a lot of these dark colors. I love maroon polishes. Especially pedicures and matching manicures. As a side note, a little story time for you, just to see, a wellness check on how everybody's doing. I did psychiatry for 10 years. A little story time. I did get my son moved back home. They have had a reduction in hours, and they calculated his unemployment, even though he was working full-time hours, and he's ending up getting like 10% of his income. So there was no way that they could sustain. So what we did is we're consolidating households, and he and his roommate both moved in. We have gotten the guys moved in. The house is crammed. I don't know if you guys follow my channel or if you've seen where I'd managed to do a declutter and get all my craft items moved into a sunroom. Well, that sunroom's been emptied out now, and that's his roommate's apartment. And then my son has moved into a spare bedroom, and we're just stacked up to here again. But it should be temporary. I know that an interruption in income is devastating to people, but there's no way that I would let people be homeless or go hungry. So I'm helping these two gentlemen. They've moved in, they're settled, we've gotten unpacked and everything. And because I have not had an interruption in income, I'm a registered nurse, we are wide open. Because I have not had an interruption in income, I'm looking around my community and I'm trying to think, how can I help? There are two things that I needed. There are several things that I needed to get done that I can afford to do, repairs around the house. And this is the story time. About 15 years ago, my mother died unexpectedly. Did CPR on her and I lost my mother. She had a blood clot on her leg that had not been treated appropriately, and it became pulmonary emboli. And basically she suffocated from blood clots in the lungs. So, in the middle of her funeral, and there's probably 100 people coming and going that week because my dad was very popular in the community and had a lot of support. A lot of people came to check on him. My air condition quit working. This was one of the hot early springs that we had because Mom died around May 20th, and the house was sweltering. So, I don't recall if it was my brothers or my daddy who called the repairman. And the repairman lives on the pond that Daddy had a lot on. So they knew each other. Not really fishing buddies, but neighbors. And the man came in and he put Freon in the machine. And he said, basically, you're gonna have to replace this machine. It's probably not going to hold this Freon, but it'll get you through the funeral. And I asked, I had my checkbook and I asked him, how much do I owe you? And he said, you owe me a hug. And he walked out and didn't charge me anything. So it took 15 years, but I was able to call them back to put a new HVAC system in this week or last week. And when I was talking to the men, I thought that they would be wide open because South Carolina, we have heat and cold extremes. We have weird weather. And I thought that these guys would continue to be wide open. And as it turns out, these folks are not working. So calling them at this point in time was a blessing for them. And I was able to, just write a check and, these 4 men got a paycheck. So, I'm waiting on a hot tub repairman now. If you're still working and you're able to afford to do repairs on your home, and you don't have at-risk family members, I don't have anyone elderly or sickly, and I realize that this thing can touch anybody, but we can't quarantine. We're all still working in my household. We've had, some of the members have had reduced hours, but if there's any way that you can, contract with small local businesses to get repairs done or work done, and it won't jeopardize you or them to do the work, it might be a blessing and it might help pay things forward. But again, guys, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. Please check my girlfriend's channel, Decide of 40. She's also panning polishes, and she's got a lovely manicure. She's a hairdresser, so she's got a lovely manicure. I'm also curious how you guys are going to maintain those manicures for the month and possibly 2 months. We're going to have to see the trajectory of it. And, I realize that vaccines take a long time to develop, but hopefully we can find something that'll beat this back and find some treatment modalities. It's a worldwide effort for healthcare workers right now to try and get a cure for this, to try and get it under control. Again, thank you for stopping by my channel. Have a wonderful weekend. Toodaloo.